Hello, everybody. I see people are rolling in. Very excited to have everybody here today. We'll get started in just one moment. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Thursday, only one more day until Friday, and then we start the weekend. Beautiful weather here in Michigan. We're in the 70s today, so cannot complain about that compared to the high temperatures that we had that were around in the low 90s just about a week ago or so. And so we'll kick things off. Very excited to have everybody here for this month's elevator pitch. This is the month of June, and we have three great speakers here today. We've got Brian from Kaseya, we've got Colin from MoveBot, and Mark from Sophos. And welcome, everybody. We will go in order alphabetically just so that we're not playing favorites. We're just going to roll it that way. And so what's going to happen is each of our presenters will get 10 minutes to give us their elevator pitch. And from there, what will happen is we will open up to our demo rooms where you can join one of the demo rooms. We'll talk to you a little bit more later how you do that. There is a button down at the bottom of your Zoom screen that allows you to go into what's called a breakout room and give you an opportunity to be able to learn more, both from a hands-on learning perspective, if each of the vendors have anything to show you there, but also to answer any questions that you have. So if you do have any questions as they're presenting, jot those down so that as you join their demo room a little bit later, you'll be able to do that. Now, got one very big thing I want to make sure everybody's aware of is we do have $250 of cash that is burning a hole in our pockets, and we want to give away to one lucky attendee. That will be all the way at the end. So yes, we have this little ploy. We're going to keep you all the way to the end to make sure that you hear everybody's presentation, go through the demo rooms, and then we'll spin a wheel, grab a lucky winner, and give away that $250 cash. And so without further ado, we're going to start things off. We're going to start off with Brian with Kaseya. We're going to talk about K365, a new name that was just announced, a new product offering. Pretty cool that Kaseya has launched. And they launched that just a couple months ago at Kaseya Connect Global. And Brian, before we set your timer for 10 minutes, we need to
Okay.
learn one unique thing about Brian that most people don't know. What is that thing, Brian?
So one of the things most people don't know, one of the things that people who know me well know that I have 4 kids at home and I travel a lot, so it's a little hectic. But my kids' initials spell crew. So that's my crew at home.
That's
My
cool.
boys are the ooh in the crew. So that's the funny thing about me, I guess, the unique thing about me. Never thought I'd have a kids, let alone 4. So
That's awesome. I like that. That's unique. And we'll get things started here. You can go ahead and share your screen, and we will
awesome.
set the timer for 10 minutes. And and we will have a virtual hook. If you continue past 10 minutes and 1 second, we'll yank you off stage. And your timer starts now, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the warm introduction. As Dan said, I'm Brian Doty. I'm on the channel development team here at Kaseya. If you know me, give me a shout out. We love seeing you guys on the road, of course. One of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about today is having to do it all as an MSP. I get that. I worked for an MSP for a little while, and there's a lot of challenges in dealing with all those functions of IT and IT security. Of course, there's all the tools, the interfaces, the users, the vendors, the invoices that you're getting from all those vendors, the support. And on average, there's 17 different tools or vendors that MSPs are working with. So it can be rather chaotic and rather messy at times. Certainly receiving in all those phone calls and things from all of your vendors can be challenging, right? And I get it because I was on the receiving end of that too. And there's an analogy, we've used this to explain our platform before, but it's sort of like, I'm a DIYer. I like to do a lot of things around the house. I've done some renovations and things, and I'm certainly guilty, if you were to use that word, it's kind of strong. Most of us accumulate tools over time as the project requires it. You go out and buy the thing you need, or in case you replace the thing you need a few times. But you acquire these tools along the way, and maybe there was a special at Home Depot or Lowe's or something, and it's fine. That's quite normal. A lot of DIYers kind of go through that, but the difference is that you wake up one day to do a project and you forgot to charge the 18 different batteries that you need to do that. So you might be able to use your reciprocating saw, but you can't use your drill that day until the battery's charged. So the thing is, when you think about it, all the tools on the right, and we're not spokespeople for Milwaukee. I happen to be a Ryobi guy, just saying, but most importantly, the look and feel and everything, all that's good. But most importantly is that consistent battery that you can use, and you could charge up three, four of them and go. And so, to build out that kit, you probably got a pretty good deal on the one on the right as well. So, when we're talking about it, it's like, well, where do you start first? And it's like, well, all the tools are important for their own sort of purpose there and what they're going to help you accomplish, but you need to know where to start, right? And that's where this analogy kind of comes full circle with the CISA Cyber Essentials Guide. And so they're saying things like you have to be able to manage, secure, and back up these endpoints out there. You have to be able to manage the inventory on the network. You have to know what's there. You have to be able to identify it. And you have to have some basic security parameters in place. And you have to be able to back it up. You have to have a copy of everything. And you have to do that in an automated fashion so that you have redundancy, and you can protect against sort of the eventuality of a ransomware attack, really. And we didn't just choose CISA out of thin air. It's a best practice by the Department of Homeland Security. It's based on the NIST cybersecurity framework, which I hope to bring full circle here at the end. But the idea here is being able to manage, secure, backup, and we focus on this. Of course, we focus on automation here at Kaseya as well. And so it's having access to all these things, ensuring that data is protected, being able to back that up, and doing all of this very consistently and with the availability that you have in smaller teams. So what that looks like in a subscription is RMM, antivirus, ransomware detection, advanced software management, so third-party patching, endpoint detection response, managed detection response, having a SOC, and then endpoint backup, being able to back up those endpoints out there. So when you go out and buy this tech stack on the open market, you're going to pay around $13.20. Now, I built a stack like this for the MSP I worked for. It was a little bit higher than this, but maybe we were including some things. So I'll show you guys the breakdown here, what's going on. So RMM, maybe $1.20 if you're getting a good deal. EDR for $2, 50 cents on ransomware detection in the platforms that you're using, and having antivirus deployed on all these endpoints as well. Next generation antivirus too, so it's doing some heuristics and some machine learning along the way there too. Third-party patching is very important. That's usually an add-on for a lot of RMMs. And then, of course, endpoint backup, having that built in there, as well as managed detection and response, which is a lot of times a huge chunk of the cost. So when you build that all out, you add it up, it comes out to about $13.20. With Kaseya 365 Pro, we brought the cost together in one subscription for $5.25. Can you imagine saving almost $8 per license per month on every endpoint you have out there that you're managing? So think about that savings that you're getting and how significant that can be. So when we're talking about Kaseya 365 Pro, we're talking about RMM, your choice, right? So it could be VSA 9 or VSA 10 if you're already standardized on one of those. Datto RMM, if you're kind of open to switching from a different platform. But this also includes Datto AV, Datto EDR, includes our third-party patching with our unified RMM, Rocket Cyber for managed detection response, and Datto endpoint backup. All together, again, for $5.25. You can't beat that, folks. It's a game changer for the endpoint. And when you're thinking about how you're selling to your clients, those clients that have pushed back in the past saying, hey, this is too expensive. Your security offering is just too much for me. Well, now you could package this up in a way where it's a lot more palatable for your clients. In fact, you can include it at your current pricing and even perhaps save some money there. Now, I also want to explain, if you're really married up with your outsourced SOC or your MDR solution works really, really well for you, you could do the same thing with Kaseya 365 Express. It includes everything I just talked about, minus the MDR Rocket Cyber aspect of it, and it comes in at 2.25. So really impressive pricing. But all of that is great, and all of that's great to build out your stack at a lower price. And I can go while my computer's slowly clicking to the next slide. The automations built into Kaseya 365 is really what makes it powerful. And this is something that, as you're scaling up your organization, as you're growing your practice, this is about how many seats you can add per headcount that you have to go out and hire. And so being efficient behind the scenes is truly important. So I'm showing you guys a snippet, some of the integrations that we have with the solutions, and this is just within Kaseya 365. So when we look at the automation, this is really a great starting point, thinking about that cordless drill as a starting point for your toolkit. And so as you build out and as you get more of the IT complete modules outside of Kaseya 365, you unlock more and more of the integrations and automations that we have. And so if you're an existing partner and you're saying, hey, how do I move my existing contract? I have a smattering of Kaseya products. This is a great conversation to have with your account manager. You can follow our link or join our breakout room, and we'll be happy to help you get in touch with your account manager for that. We have an upgrade path for everyone so that you can move those existing licenses over to the new subscription. And then, of course, as you grow and build this out, an unbelievable starting point. Now, all of that to say that over the last couple of years, we've been listening to our partners. We've been hearing the feedback. Yes, we do listen to Reddit from time to time. And we're trying to put our partners first. And that's why we've come out with this Partner First Pledge. This is about sharing risks. So now, if you want to move your spend to another product in the Kaseya portfolio, you're able to shift that spend around, those dollars around, to a subscription that makes the most sense for you. If you happen to lose a larger client, we get that. We're here to help with that, because that is something that can be problematic for an MSP paying for a lot of air in their software. Of course, our price lock guarantee, holding your contracts renewals to maximum of 5% plus CPI. And of course, we have flexible 1 and 3 year contract terms. We've adjusted the 1 year pricing so that it's much more palatable now. And that's not to mention all the products that we have that align with the NIST cybersecurity framework. If you'd like to get a demo of any of these products, or want to join our breakout room, you can either use the QR code here on the screen, or, like I said, join the breakout room. I'll be happy to help you.
Excellent. Brian, thank you so much. Very, very cool. I was at Kaseya Global Connect, or Kaseya Connect Global.
Yes.
And I was able to see Fred speak about just this whole change right live on stage, and saw a lot of excitement. I've been seeing a lot of great buzz in the forums about people beginning the process of switching over to 365, K365, and pretty cool. Great bundle of tools. So thank you, Brian, for that. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our next presenter. We've got Colin with MoveBot. Colin is it's a very early morning for Colin in New Zealand. It's like just after 6 o'clock in the morning. So we thank him for getting up extra early today to present to us. How you doing today, Colin?
I'm doing great, Dan. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So what's something unique about Colin that you want to tell us?
Well, I'm always, I suppose, not so much unique, but I'm definitely into sort of adrenaline type sports. And I guess one of the things I do on a fairly regular basis when the weather permits is I go paragliding. So literally flying in the sky underneath a canopy or on a wing,
Wow,
and get to manage to cruise above some of the mountains here in Christchurch, here in New Zealand, which is particularly great.
that's cool. I bet it's some pretty amazing views as you're doing that.
It's great, yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
Well, we're going to go ahead and start the timer. You can go ahead and share your screen, and your 10 minutes begins right now.
Where does screen share go? Sorry, I am. There we go. Share. Missed the share button.
There we go.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. So yeah, I'd love, tell you a little bit about MoveBot. And perhaps one of the things to mention with MoveBot is we're a Kiwi tech company. So as Dan said, it's a little bit earlier in the morning here, but that's pretty normal for my day. And we have developed, the Couchdrop is actually the company name, and MoveBot is one of our products. And we've been around since 2018, and with MoveBot, it's been out in the market since 2019. But fundamentally, what we wanted to do was take the pain away from doing data migrations and try and make them, really easy and really quick for companies and MSPs to do. So, there's sometimes a lot of challenges around data migration. Sometimes a little bit sort of complexity that sits in there. And what we really wanted to do is build great software that enables people to be able to move their data quickly and easily. And we recognize that these are sort of projects. Some are small, some are large. So the platform is sort of able to scale appropriately. We are, a fully SaaS platform, fully scalable. You don't have to worry about spinning up any infrastructure or anything along those lines. You can basically come along, set your instance up, and run your migration. There's a few settings that you might have to put into place, but from things like data security and so on, you'll choose a couple of our. If in the US, you can choose our US POPs, compute nodes, and if you're doing some stuff in Canada or your geographic region, that data will basically stay in that region from a data sovereignty perspective. Speed, regardless kind of the type of migration, whether you're on-prem to cloud, tenant to tenant, cloud to cloud, and obviously the email migrations, which we introduced in October last year. We try and make that as fast as possible. Obviously, there's sometimes some limitations there. I realize a lot of people here will be probably moving data either to and from SharePoint. If you're coming out of SharePoint, it's a little bit slower than going into SharePoint. As an example, and interestingly enough, one of the things that sort of changed a little bit over the since the last time we presented here is we've invested a lot with the SharePoint connections to make the data, if you're coming from another platform into SharePoint, make that data go a little bit faster. So we're really looking at about 2 million files per day, which, depending on the file size and structures, gets you data in around about 2 to 4 terabytes per day. The other thing that's been interesting in terms of what's been happening or how people have been using our platform of late has been with doing tenant-to-tenant migrations. So, in the pandemic, everybody rushed to the cloud, they got their data into the cloud, and it was really just get everything in there, allow people to carry on working, and so on. And now with things like Copilot coming along and so on, people want to reorganize their data, particularly, in the SharePoint environment. So we've been doing, the people have been using us to do a lot of SharePoint to SharePoint migrations, and that's just reorganizing those SharePoint tenants, either just the same tenant to move the data into different sites, or between different tenants if there's been mergers and acquisitions and so on. So that, in terms of things that have changed or trends, that's something that we've seen happen over the last year or so. And as far as the product's concerned, it's designed to be a sort of point-click-go type product. We support 30 plus platforms. So whilst I've talked a little bit about SharePoint, that's been some of the new side of things. You can basically draw a bi-directional line between any of these platforms. So you can, because we do emails differently, for example, you could take an archive of, users that are no longer with you and take that archive and drop it into a SharePoint folder or into a Dropbox site or an Ignite folder. In fact, that's an application that someone actually did fairly recently, of just taking some archived email users and popping them into an Ignite folder. So sort of fringe case on some of the things, but essentially you have the flexibility to move your data bi-directionally between any of these different platforms. We do add new platforms of late. One of the most recent ones, I don't have it on the screen, is Amazon Workdocs. Amazon seemingly have a Google type equivalent and they are shutting that down. So people are looking to move out of Amazon and put their data somewhere else. So again, we connect with that. In the construction industry, things like BIM 360 are connections in there as well. So we're always looking at new connections to add and listening to what people are saying on that. Some of the key things that people ask when, if you're doing a migration, MoveBot's really great for helping you scope it out in the sense of, and also handling things at the quirks of the source and destination quirks. So what I mean by that is you can run a scan, you can figure out how much data is in there, and pull that information out. Allows you to get to know how your file structures are you going to have any issues moving the data from one place to another, and then you can scope out the cost and the time element that sits in there. I mentioned the speeds. These are some of the typical speeds that we can expect. If you're going, SharePoint to SharePoint is 300 to 500 gig a day. We get rate limited, but if you're going between some of the other performant platforms, you can see 15, 20 terabytes a day. We were in migration fairly recently from Dropbox to Google, and that was running at I think 27 terabytes per day. So the platform is optimized to be fast. We've been working with MSPs a long time. There's a lot of people that really quite like us. We'd like some more of you guys to come and join us, which would be great. And then one of the other things that we really worked, sort of this little bit disjointed on here, is one of the other things that we work with here is just trying to take the stress out of doing a migration, get the data across, do some deltas, and then a final cutover, and then beginning working in this new platform. So you kind of keep people working in the old platform, bring those people across at appropriate times, and it saves this. What we'd really try and encourage people to do is not try and do all this over a weekend, not try and put the stress on yourself. So let's do it easy, use the delta functions that just brings the changes across, and you can do a number of those, and then you have a nice relaxed weekend when you want to do your cutover on a Monday. What does it cost? Basically, it's there's no per user charges or anything like that. We simply charge per terabyte. And obviously MSPs have, we get access to premium support. We'll support you all the way in what you're doing. And the data blocks that you buy don't expire. So there might be a couple of changes on the pricing coming up, but it will probably just be lower quantities, lower but per gig as opposed to per terabyte pricing. That's a little bit of that's likely to be coming up sometime in the near future. I think I'm probably at time, Dan.
Yeah, you are 10 seconds away from it. So you did an awesome job. And
No
as we all know, data migrations can be very cumbersome without the right tools. And I liked the wave approach that you talked about, doing those deltas. It just gives you that peace of mind. Doing that data migration is a big project, and you want to be able to ensure that is as seamless as possible. So that's great. So we appreciate that information from Colin with MoveBot, and we're going to move on to our next presenter. We've got Mark here with Sophos, and Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing awesome. It's a great day, and we're going to go ahead and put you on the spot as well, like we did our other two presenters, and have you give us one interesting fact about Mark that we might not be aware of.
One interesting fact. First of all, it's not as early here in Vancouver as down in New Zealand. But one interesting fact I would say, I have an interesting middle name. It's Einstein, which is Albert Einstein. I think my parents probably wanted me to be a physicist or a scientist. Didn't work out that way, but I'm happy pitching Sophos products and services for security.
That's cool. Very cool. And we'll go ahead and kick things off for you. We'll go ahead and start our timer, and your 10 minutes begins now.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everybody for joining today. Again, my name is Mark Einstein. Yeah, I've been at Sophos for about 7 years. Really like it here at Sophos. I think we're doing a really, really good service to MSPs, very channel friendly, very MSP friendly. And I'm very excited to talk to you about what we're doing for our MSPs to help you protect your SMB customers. So you can all see my screen. I will flip over to who we are and what do we do at Sophos. So we've been around for a little while. Sophos is a little bit older than I am. Sophos has been around since 1985. So almost a 40-year-old company with over 600,000 customers. A lot of users over the years. One thing I wanted to really highlight is that we are a little bit bigger than a lot of our customers and our partners perceive. We currently have 4,100 employees, and the key stat I always share is that we have 500 individuals that are dedicated to our security operations team. So when we talk about anything cybersecurity as a service related, MDR, SOC as a service, incident response, any of these functions where we're offloading security services off our MSPs and partners and customers, we have 500 employees dedicated to that. We have a big channel program here at Sophos with over 25,000 resellers and 7,000 active MSPs. One thing that's fairly new to Sophos, which a lot of you may not know of, is we have a ton of technology partnerships. We integrate to a lot of RMM and PSA vendors, but we also have over 100 integrations to third-party security products. So if you can't build your entire security stack with Sophos, and I'll share what we have here in just a second, we allow you to integrate to these third-party security products as well to ingest the telemetry and enrich how we're protecting your end customers, which is a really, really cool approach that we're doing here at Sophos. The stat I want to share here is the 22,000 plus. We are the largest MDR provider in the world by unique customers. So we do protect a lot of end customers with our 24/7 managed detection and response, where we provide the threat hunting, the incident response, and the detections, and we offload that off of your plates. The vast majority of our customers and partners don't have the expertise or the manpower to create their own security operations center. So we're here to augment that and do it for you. We also have a lot of firewall and email customers, but we have a lot more products than what you see here on the screen. I think Brian did an amazing job setting the stage earlier from Kaseya when he talked about tool sprawl, when he talked about the vendor sprawl and having so many different partnerships. A lot of what I have on this slide was already highlighted by Brian, so great job with that, Brian. Our whole goal at Sophos is to also help you consolidate from a security perspective. So most of you can relate to a lot of these different challenges and pain points, from security tools, vendor partnerships, different pricing, licensing, certifications. It is getting very, very complex, and it is a barrier to operating efficiently. So we feel your pain as well, and I think a lot of the other vendors, such as Brian at Kaseya, highlighted that very, very well. One of the items I wanted to highlight is that security tools alone are great, but when they don't work together, when they work in isolation, there's a lot of gaps and loopholes and potential misconfiguration that poses issues. Keeping up with the latest security solutions and technologies can also be very challenging, of course. Hiring and retaining cybersecurity experts, that can be very challenging, and that's part of the reason why Sophos has really gone into this cybersecurity as a service approach, where we're building out our security teams. Threat hunting, detection, and remediation. You know, how many of you have had end customers with incidents in the middle of the night? Who's going to be helping them out? We have a fully built out team that can help out, even non-Sophos customers, with a rapid response, basically like our 911 service here at Sophos. Rigid vendor contracts. You'll be happy to note that in our MSP Flex program here at Sophos, really there's no, and I'll get into this a little bit more into more detail, but we have no minimums. We have no minimum quantities, terms, commitments. It's all month to month based on your consumption. We have MSPs who are billing a very small amount with us, you know, maybe a dozen licenses and $20 a month, all the way to MSPs who bill over $100,000 a month with us, with thousands and thousands of licenses and customers, and everything else in between. And just the overall complexity of cybersecurity and daily management, I think we have a really good offering to simplify it. So when we take all these challenges, I want you to think about three key themes here at Sophos. I call it the 1-1-1. I want you to think about one security vendor and how much more simple it would be to consolidate a lot of your different tools and services under the security umbrella. I want you to think about how easy it is to manage all these tools and services with one management dashboard across all your customers. And then our very flexible program that I quickly alluded to, where it's very low risk. There's really no barrier to entry because there's no minimum quantities or term commitments at all. So I'm going to highlight a few of these key benefits here. One security vendor. We all know it's very, very difficult to secure absolutely every single gap and loophole that the threat actors try to exploit. This is a very small and basic example here. But when we look at all the different areas the threat actors are looking to exploit, we need to fill the gaps with a lot of different tools, right? So you may start off with a few security partnerships, and then 4 or 5 or 6 years later, I think the average that was mentioned earlier was around 17. Sometimes we have MSPs who join Sophos with over 30 different security partnerships. They inherit a lot of different tools and services when they inherit new customers and onboard them, and then they're forced to sort of learn those products, and the products don't work together. The result is that you have a lot of different tools and layers. I think tool sprawl was mentioned earlier as well. We're taking a different approach at Sophos because you're able to centralize most of your security with one vendor with Sophos. The Sophos Central platform allows you to house all your customers and all the different products together in one place. One login, you're able to manage all the different products and services at Sophos. So you might be wondering, how many products and services do you have at Sophos? We have a lot. We have over 20. And with all the products and services that I'm going to show you here, it all takes the same principle. No minimum quantities, no term commitments, and it's all month to month completely. So this is our current most updated security portfolio here at Sophos. Again, I think we're one of the, if not the most comprehensive security offerings for MSPs out there today. And we really bring in most of our revenue in the MSP and the SMB space at Sophos due to our MSP friendly channel model. We also work on we're also very proud of our synchronized security. What that means is that our products and services speak to one another. We have them working together, sharing information, and closing a lot of those gaps and loopholes. One management dashboard. I touched on this earlier already. We really have one management dashboard where you can manage all your customers, all the products. Every customer also has an admin dashboard as well, where you can give them access if it's a co-managed environment. So keep that in mind. A lot of flexible role-based access controls involved there. Hopefully I'm doing well with time. I'm going through this a little bit quick, but we will have our breakout rooms to answer more questions. Some highlights on our channel program and why we're extremely MSP friendly. Again, month-to-month consumption-based, very low risk. If you onboard a new customer with 1,000 licenses and they all of a sudden go out of business or end their relationship with you as the MSP, you can uninstall everything and have a $0 bill the next month. It's that simple. We don't lock you into any contracts at all. The pricing is also based on your entire customer base across many different products that we offer. So that helps you achieve lower price points as you move up to the different quantity tiers. You don't ever have to quote. So we have a specific rate for all the different products. You can deploy 24/7 anytime. You can add or remove licensing. You can go from our most basic level of licensing for endpoint and go all the way to our MDR with just a few clicks of a button. We'll update your bill accordingly. So you can really, on Christmas or Thanksgiving, update the level of licensing for your customer and the level of protection, and we'll update the rate for your bill based on the selection. It's perpetual. You don't have to worry about any renewals at all. And we really do bill you just based on what's active that given month. So you're never wasting any licenses. You don't have to keep track of any expiries, and you own the licenses. If your customer wants to transfer to any other service provider or manage it in-house, you do need to give approval, so they won't just disappear on you, of course. And then we do also have a lot of RMM and PSA integrations to help with your deployments. And the last thing I want to touch on with just a few minutes remaining is that we do have a big cybersecurity as a service offering here at Sophos. I mentioned earlier that our core pillar to that would be our managed detection and response, where we have over 500 threat experts who are monitoring your customers 24/7, doing the proactive threat hunting detections. And if there is an incident, 24/7, whether it's Christmas Day, 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, we're going to be there to respond on your behalf. Some key statistics here. We respond extremely quick. We gather a ton of data across all our different products and over 22,000 MDR customers, and we're able to respond even without calling the customer or yourself. You could be sleeping in the middle of the night or on vacation. We're going to respond for you. We also have a ton of different integrations to third-party products, over 100. These are just a very small example here that I'm showing. But if you have a Sophos MDR customer and you want to integrate to a third-party firewall and not a Sophos firewall, that's perfectly fine as well. So I just wanted to touch on that really quickly. And then to wrap things up before we get into our breakout rooms, I just want to say that if you do want to partner with Sophos, we do have a very awesome dedicated MSP team here. You can start with a partner application on our website, and then we do have dedicated teams at Sophos. For example, I align to our Canada and US West team, and we have 10 individuals in those teams. So wherever you're located, feel free to reach out to us and we can walk you through the onboarding process. And I hope I stayed within my time. I was not keeping track, and I'll leave it at that so we can get into our breakout rooms.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. A lot of great information, very comprehensive as far as the overall offering. And one thing that I learned was just the aspect of Sophos being able to jump in and provide support for security incidents that could happen. So obviously, as MSPs grow, they need additional talent and staff to be able to help make that happen. So we're going to move on to the next section here. We're going to get into our breakout rooms. And before we do that, I'm going to have Talon throw a poll up right now. And basically, if you would like to hear from Kaseya, hear from MoveBot or Sophos, go ahead and complete that poll, and we'll pass that on to each of them so they can reach out to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin our next section here. So if you have questions, if you want to see some more hands-on, each of the members, each of our speakers today will be able to do that for you right within the demo room. At the bottom of your screen, you will see breakout rooms, and in just a couple moments here, we'll go ahead and open up those breakout rooms. You'll be able to click on the breakout room, pick which room you want to go into. If you have any questions as far as how to get into it, just go ahead and throw a message into chat. We'll help you. If you don't pick a breakout room, we'll go ahead and we can throw you into one of the breakout rooms, and you can move around. So if you start out taking a look at Sophos and you want to jump over to Kaseya and then move on to MoveBot, you have that capability. So with that being said, Taylon's going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. 120 seconds before we close the breakout rooms, we'll shoot a warning, and we'll move everybody to the back to the stage here. And then we will, last but not least, give away $250 cash to one of our attendees.